YouTube looks to be connected. Facebook looks to be connected. Okay, guys, give me just a minute here to get. I know I'm late. I feel like the White Rabbit. Give me just a second to get everything moving here. We gotta move it, move it. I feel like the. Who was it? It was somebody from Madagascar. One of the Madagascar, or the penguins or something. It's amazing the things that you think of. Okay, go live for that one and Instagram. Alright, I know I have a live open in one of these Instagram windows. Bear with me a second. It's not there. Here it is. Okay. Alright. Oh my. Okay. Let me just give everything a second to do its thing here. Okay, let me now pull my screen I like up. Okay, alright. Ooh, and it's doing something weird. Okay. I'm not gonna worry about it. Alright, let me get my notes here. I know I'm late. I'm sorry. I feel like the White Rabbit. I'm late for a very important date. Okay, so we have some cool stuff to talk about today. And you can't see it, but I am repping. I am repping the company. But you can't see my T-shirt. All right, I'll have to put myself in a story this weekend and do it that way. All right, so what are we going to talk about today? Well, we have a couple things. First of all, we're starting to get food information and other stuff for the Epcot International Food and Wine Festival, which starts at the end of this month. I want to say the last week of the month, and it runs until November 21st. I've done food and wine. It's really cool. It's really fun. I've done it twice actually, and I loved it both times I did it. I did it once at the end of the festival. You know, we were there for Thanksgiving week, and it was still winding up. So on our first couple days, we managed to do it and catch a lot of the food and the treats and the special stuff. And I've also done it in August. I went for a social media event one year in August, and we definitely partook of the food and wine goodies. They are all yummy, depending on what you like, but I haven't met much food and wine food I don't like. So, just my 2 cents. The magic shots are back. They got the Swedish chef. They've got Figment with all his food. They got the giant empanada. There's a Mickey one coming back, and I forget what the fifth one is. Um, but they've got the magic shots, the photo pass photographers again. Um, Remy's hide and squeak will be back. So will Emil's what do they call it? It's all cheese themed. Fromage montage, I think. That will be back too. So if you enjoy them, you get another chance to do them, which will be, I think, excellent. I think the Remy thing is really cute, and I think it's great for the kids. Um, you know, when we were there with my son, we had Kit and Duffy, and every pavilion had a Duffy spot, and we went into every pavilion, and he got his Duffy stamps. But it kept him engaged, it kept him entertained, and it let us, try some food, look in some of the shops, look at some of the shows. So I'm glad that they still have kid-focused activities because I think it makes it nicer for everybody if the kids are a little happier. Um, and Epcot always, it's not an adult park, but I always think of the World Showcase as more adult. I think because of the food and the alcohol and the live music at night and stuff. Um, and that's not necessarily true. That's just my impression. But I'm glad that they have some kid stuff too, because it does make life a little easier for mom and dad. So what do we have this year? We have some final menus, and the list of marketplaces for 2026 is still in development. But here are 3 items that will be returning to the festival this year. Street corn style dumplings, chicken dumplings with tomatillo salsa verde, street corn salad, cojita lime crema, and cilantro. will also be the return of the grilled bushberry spiced shrimp skewer with sweet and sour vegetables and coconut chili sauce. And I'm going to butcher this name, so I'm just going to apologize in advance. Kirschwasser torte with cherry brandy, buttercream, fondant, sugared almonds, and cherry compote. So now that we're all hungry, um, I'm hearing that the first couple Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween parties have sold out. So if you want to do Mickey's Not So Scary, please, please, please get it now. Get it while it's still available because they do sell out. I don't want anybody to be disappointed if we can prevent it. If you want to go to Food and Wine, there's still time to book your trip. So let me know. We can definitely get you booked somewhere, get you some Epcot Park tickets, and then you can eat all the yummy stuff and see the Muppets, and there's just all kinds of cool stuff. So if a fall escape is on your bucket list or on your necessary list, depending on which list you're looking at, I would be happy to help you with that. I promised in my reel the other week when I was focusing on everything Universal offers for the holiday season because they do some really cool stuff like meeting the Grinch and meeting Max and having breakfast with the Grinch and walking through Seuss Landing and meeting the Who's. And of course, there's hot chocolate and there's fake snow and there's the Christmas tree from Macy's, along, for Christmas in the City, along with the balloons and stuff from the parade. There's just a lot of holiday magic at Universal that you can't get anywhere else. And one of the things, as you may know, they do the Christmas in the City and they have the big tree lighting outside of the Macy's storefront. And one year, oh, I don't know, 10 or 15 years ago, maybe longer, they lit it up for the first time. They were doing the test run, and there were whole patches of lights that didn't light. So the teams got together and they had them troubleshoot it. And it turns out that a squirrel had built a nest in the tree, and the squirrel had been chewing on the light wires. So that is why certain areas of the tree were out. So, to commemorate this kind of once in a lifetime, that's really odd, what are the odds of that happening again thing, every year after that, they put a plush squirrel in the tree and they had armatures so that it would move in and out. And every year that the squirrel would do something different. Sometimes it had a single light, sometimes it had a string of lights. There was a year it wore a hat. There was always something different on the squirrel from year to year. And the squirrel kind of started getting a backstory. The staff members knew to look for it. The annual pass holders knew to look for it. Um, you know, everybody kind of became like an inside thing. And everybody was kind of like, yeah, Earl the squirrel, and they at some point the squirrel got the name Earl. And then in 2020 they were doing the holiday shop, and as you know, if you've been, you go through the holiday shop, and there are different rooms with different themes, and there's all kinds of stuff you can buy, and it's not just it's also like really cool effects and really cool designs and stuff. And they had a room, and they were trying to figure out what to do with it. And it was kind of like a kitschy, cozy Christmas thing, little gaudy, kind of classic in its own way. And something was just missing. And somebody said, "Well, let's add Earl." And they're like, "Oh yeah, Earl. Okay, we could do that." So they came up with the story of Earl's Tree Farm. Because, of course, Earl is a squirrel who lives in a tree, so what better place to live in for the squirrel than the tree farm? And they had somebody on staff draw what Earl might look like. And they brought everybody in for like the sneak peek for the annual pass holders, and they really weren't sure how they were going to take to the Earl room. And the guy walked him in, and he's like, "Well, this is all Earl the squirrel, and this is the story of his tree farm." And they got like the most positive response to it. They didn't realize that regular Universal goers already knew about Earl, already loved Earl. So they were very, very happy. But because it had been a last minute thrown together thing, they had no Earl merch. And people were asking for Earl merch. So the first thing they did after the group went through was to get on the phone and get some merch out the door quickly to the theme parks. And Earl has been expanding his role ever since. You may have seen him in the parks. He's the squirrel with the red and black plaid hat. He's got a backstory, he's got a following, he's got lots of merch. Um, One of the cast members who thought he should be a character who was just part of their Christmas lore wrote a poem. I'm not going to read it, but you can go on Universal site and find there's a video that gives you Earl's backstory, and the poem is in the video. So is the guy that wrote it, and the guy that kind of championed Earl and got him permanent status. So you can definitely go to Universal this holiday season and meet the Grinch. You can meet Earl. I understand Epic Universe will be celebrating the holidays this year too. I've seen holidays in Super Mario Land and Isle of Berk, which is of course based off of the How to Train Your Dragon movies. Um, I've heard it will be in all three parts of Harry Potter, so that would mean it would be in Paris. But I haven't seen any specifics yet. There's that cough. Haven't had it in a couple weeks. But I'm excited to see what they do. Of course, they're going to have the holiday projections on the castle and the normal things in the original two Harry Potter areas. But I'm curious to see what they do with the third one because I don't think they did a whole lot last year because it was newly open. So I'm curious to see Christmas in Wizarding Paris. I'm excited for that. Um, I know there's a lot of weather out there. I know I do this every week. Um, I know there are terrible wildfires. I know there are terrible thunderstorms coming through. I'm actually reading a book about hurricanes. I was going to bring it and hold it up to the camera and show it to you guys, but time got away from me today, so I'll have to do that next week. But if you're in any of that weather, please stay safe. I saw my first round of back to school pictures on Facebook this week. If that's you, my heart is with you. I have another week or two. Um, but it's creeping up quick, which means that fall travel and holiday travel and even really spring break travel are creeping closer. It may be too early to book spring break. Most people book about 6 months out, which actually, yeah, which would put us at like September. But it's not too early to start talking about it. It's not too early to get your ducks in a row, figure out who's going, who's not, where you want to go, what you want to do. Um, and it does that wonderful thing that we all need. It gives us something to look forward to. So, if I can help you book a trip, a cruise, a theme park, a new city, an all inclusive resort, whatever your little travel heart desires, I can help you make it happen. So, let me know. But I also want to leave you with something besides just a sales pitch. Because I do try to give you not just what's going on, but I try to give you some actual useful tips too. Um, One of the questions I get from my families with littles is, our very special friend wants to go in the park with us. Be it Toby the Dragon, or, maybe it's, the Mickey they bought the first night they were there at World of Disney. I've seen a couple interesting ways if this is really necessary. I always say it's better to leave them in the hotel room. I know you can't travel without them. I know bedtime doesn't happen without them. I always like to set Toby up. We had Toby the Dragon, and I always like to set him up with the TV, get him comfy on the bed, give him the TV remote, put some snacks by him. Make it like he was having his own fun time in the hotel room. But if you really do need to take him with you, maybe you want to do nap in the stroller in the middle of the day, and that won't happen without. Put some kind of tracker. You can either get a collar, if you've got a doggy or somebody, maybe get a collar that holds a tracker. You can, of course, open it up and put it in and just close that put a couple stitches back in there. Um, yeah, they're kind of your best too, is to either hide it in or put it on a collar if it's a girl character, maybe it's Minnie, maybe get her a necklace that take the holder and then put a pretty piece of ribbon through it or something, make a necklace out of it. um but I have heard that they help. The other thing you should do is if you're putting the tracker in there, put your contact information in it too. Put a little note with your mailing address. If I'm lost, Jenn is my person. Please get me back to her. I will be missing her terribly. Here's how to contact her. And I get you don't want to necessarily give your phone number out, but an email address or something. Um, just to kind of try to get that special person back quickly if they get lost in the park. Um, it happens. Things fall out of the stroller. Things get left behind. None of us want to do it, but the truth is, life happens. Some of the other things you might also want to put trackers on. I always keep one in my park bag. I also use one in my checked baggage. I know that's not the most reliable thing because when you're up in the air, you're going to lose connection and it's in the cargo hold and the signal's not going to be very strong. But I found it useful all the same. I'm not relying on it. I'm not saying it's, the end all be all, but I do think it is useful to have it in your park bag, in your purse, in your carry-on luggage. I know there are music groups that go. There are, the high school chorus, the marching band. Consider putting it in your instrument case, even though that's probably something you're going to carry on the plane with you and keep safe. Still have it in there just in case. Things happen. You put it down in the restroom to wash your hands. You sit it, by your foot while you're having, your meal before you take off, or and you get up and it's, you realize 10 minutes later that you left it. None of us want want to do those things, but they happen. So trackers are a good way to kind of keep an eye on things. Um, all right, so I will see you next week. And next week, I think we should start talking about decorating your room. If you've ever been at the Disney resorts, which I'm sure most of you have, you're walking through your area and you see all that cool stuff on the windows. I'm going to give you some decorating ideas for things you can do besides just like it's a birthday, it's a graduation, it's a honeymoon, it's an anniversary. They're all really cool, but I'm going to try to come up with some other things you can do. So I will share them with you next week. Until then, stay safe, stay healthy, and let me know if you want to travel. Bye.